average penis size erect is 5.5 inches or 6 inches at most.
There's only so much space for a penis to go into.
Is it a human or is it AI? Most women don't want for guys to have these huge dicks that you see in porn.
It makes me think of like a
vacuum sealing a dick.
To whose pleasure are you trying to achieve? If you're going to take your clothes off, you should open your mouth.
Hey, Tanya, how are you?
Doing good, Erin. How are you?
I am doing great. Sitting out here. It just got finished raining, and I think it's going to rain again. Kind of looks like that, but I like it like this. And so I'm going to turn my camera around so people can see why I like to be outside.
Yeah. San Antonio weather, May 23rd.
Yeah.
Which we can't complain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the trees and the yard and all of that.
It's usually close to 100 at this time of year.
Yes. So I know it sounds weird that, we're saying, oh, this is really cool. It's been raining and all that. That's because it's almost 100 degrees usually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I will let you get us started because I know there are a couple of articles that we were talking about before and you wanted to dive a little bit deeper on those. One of them is a continuation of our conversations on AI, and we're going to be doing a lot more of that because there are some other colleagues that are interested in participating on a panel with AI. And then the next one is on penis size. And so you take it from here.
Okay. So I like this topic of AI because this is the time that we live in, right? There was a film, I don't know if anybody's seen it, by Spike Jones, but it's not Jones in the way of spelling it Jones. It's like Johnsze or Jonze, something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, it was a 2013 film, and it's with some well-known celebrities, Scarlett Johansson, and this man has gone through a divorce, and he wants to do AI as companionship and this emotional support, which, this movie, again, 2013, we're 2026. So this was already, in this man's mind, the co-producer, director, Spike Jones. And it got me thinking about the time that we live in now from a psychological perspective. We're so connected to our digital world, our devices. I mean, we walk around now, right, with AI glasses that people don't even realize we're talking, to a AI system. They just see people walk. I mean, if you pay attention, you can see people walking around, looking at their phone or just kind of talking to themselves, but they're actually talking to AI. And the idea that we are going to be going towards using it for emotional connection, support. And would say I'm conflicted because a part of me sees that this is beneficial to have emotional connection. And if it depends on the unique circumstance of the individual, right? Like if somebody does not have healthy, strong connections with human beings, would that be a positive for this person that they have, are able to have a connection, even if it's in a digital format, versus zero within the human world. And so I can see instances where it connects, it keeps healthy connection going, but
Mm-hmm.
then, you bring in, say, these big corporations that are creating these AI systems, and you know there would be has to be some incentive on their end, right? There's going to, one, you have to purchase these systems, right? They may come in the form of a robot, they may come in form of a tablet, and it can also have the effect of connection, but also separation from the human world, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you are just completely diving into the digital world, where it's more frictionless, where there is nobody telling you, hey, I don't like that you did that. And, they're just there to build you up. And of course, that's going to seem appealing, maybe at first,
Mm-hmm.
but there is growth also in the negotiation with another human being over, um, you know, interests, or, you know, values and creativity, right? Like, without some of the contextual differences of human beings experience, yes, AI might be able to give you the, hundreds of thousands of millions of data, but without another human being to bring some context into it, does that make it less than,
Mm-hmm.
for, in terms of, I mean, maybe if you just were in digital world, it's okay. But if you're going to interact with humans, um, it too much of just positive reinforcement and, never being told no would create problems.
I
And
agree. I agree 1000%. Especially like you said, it's fine if you're just in a digital world, just using artificial intelligence, because it is artificial intelligence. Okay.
Mhm.
We have emotional intelligence. And so we're trying to figure out how do we, I don't even want to say merge them, because I think they're always going to be two separate things. Um, I guess it's kind of like, I guess I visualized it like, how at first the Mac and Apple products didn't work well with some of the Google products,
Mhm.
like the laptops and the platforms and all of that. And it would be kind of difficult to get them to integrate or operate for. I would always say, oh, okay, they just don't play well together.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it's going to be. That's how it is right now with the AI and humans. They're not playing well together. There's a potential for them to, I don't, what would you call it? I guess, I'm trying to not give too much to AI because humans did develop it.
Yeah.
We have the emotional intelligence, we have the ability to reason and all of that. All of that stuff is artificial. And so it is up to us as humans to direct that the way that we want to direct it. That's how I
Yeah.
have to look at it, or I'll go insane. Like, we're
Yeah.
still in charge.
Yeah. Well, and you think about, right, the corporations hand in it, you know,
That's about money. That's all they're
yeah,
about, is money. It's not about how beneficial is this to humanity. It's how much money can we make from this.
right. For an experience, right? This,
Yeah.
whether it's a relational experience, an emotional, trying to replicate an emotional experience that is AI and not, I mean, it's based on human,
Mm-hmm.
but it's AI. And think of the creation of these unmet expectations
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that it's going to have in the human world. And um you know what are we going to do? What are there going to be the downfall in that area? What are people, how are they going to respond
Mm-hmm.
to pushback? Are they
Right.
just going to completely lose their mind? And um will suicide rates go up? That's could,
That's a
if you
concern.
you're used to these systems, AI systems, and then you go out and you're like, oh, this is not like this a Sims world.
Mm-hmm.
And your emotional well-being tanks, and you're depressed, and everything makes you nervous, and you have no practice at it because
Right.
you've just been told how wonderful you are and you've done nothing wrong. And so that psychological aspect of think of the spoiled child that gets
Yes.
everything that they want, and
Mm-hmm.
what that creates in an adult if it's never worked on. So
So the
I,
way you're describing it, it seems like if it is not regulated appropriately or monitored, or parents are not parenting, um, well, I don't want to bring up that any more of that, because if we talk about, ending your life,
yeah,
we have to put stuff in the video about, contact the hotline, the 988 hotline,
yeah,
because that we're not going to go off the deep end and say that's what's going to happen.
right,
We're just saying
right,
that because of the guardrails aren't there, like there aren't human guardrails to recognize those things. It's a concern, and so we're speaking because we work with people. Like this is just
right.
what we do, and so I have some concerns in that area. And I mentioned to you before, like the privacy, what's going to be done with the information that's being stored in the algorithms and all of that. Um, what if people are vulnerable?
Yeah,
So
yeah. There's, like you said, those guardrails.
yeah, yeah.
Just like with other types of platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, um, young minds, parents typically are now, they have restrictions. Children in other countries are not allowed to be on these platforms more than maybe a few hours a day.
Hmm.
Um, and because it your as a mind is forming, that's when it's most um, affected, because emotions are less regulated when you're younger. You're
Yes.
not as able to uh, calm yourself down the way an adult person would. You're very impulsive. The prefrontal cortex is just not mature enough to handle 24/7 uh, AI world. And
Hmm.
so it's talking about having those guardrails. There needs to be still people involved, especially parents, when it comes to hey, my child, and every child, right? We've talked to parents, and they're like, well, they just don't have very many friends. They just want to come home and get on the play their games.
Hmm. We're
Um,
already hearing a lot about that.
yeah, yeah.
And so
And
now that
so,
you're saying that, what is this going to do for um, what we know about child development and human development, like human development over a lifespan? Like,
yeah,
how is, just the more you talk about it, I'm like, man, this is bigger than we think.
yeah,
Um, I don't think we're making a mountain out of a molehill. Like the more you're explaining, the frontal lobe and all of that, like what is this going to do if people, does it mean that people aren't going to develop?
There would be delays because
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
not if it's not practice. I mean you would hope at some. I mean it's just like anything that is not learned and
Mm-hmm.
it something else is reinforced. You think about, right, like we know this already. I mean there's not, I mean we've had Facebook for, what is it, going on 20 some odd years.
That
um
long?
I was an adult back then. But yeah, I mean it's been right. And even like the more, what I would claim is dopamine inducing
Yeah. Yeah.
is like TikTok, right? Because you're literally, every time you swipe up, you get something that is interesting to you because you have already trained that algorithm.
Yeah.
And so you get that dopamine hit. Um, but then we have to remember, right? There's some teachings, right? Parents that they know about the mind and addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have a harder time putting down the phone than others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think there's still going to be those people that can control that drive to say, oh, with their rational cognitive mind and say, this is not healthy for me. And then there's the others that have a whether it's genetic or learned,
Mm-hmm.
but typically a mind that is an addictive personality type mind, there is a genetic component to it. And you keep pushing that button, swiping up, and it keeps getting hit over and over again.
Like a
Those,
reward.
right, those are the people that are going to suffer more than others. I mean, I'm not going to say like, oh, everybody, right? Because human research has showed that not everybody becomes an alcoholic or other substance type of, either whether it's a substance or behavior. Not everybody goes 100% like that. um, it's going to be the ones that don't have the knowledge of
Mm-hmm.
what this could lead to, and then the ones that probably have like a genetic component there that um, is really driving them to want to be in that world much more than another person. um,
That makes sense.
it's always what we know and who we're sharing that information with, which is why it's important that when you start to see some of these behaviors or thoughts that people put out there that are dangerous, um, that you try to get them assistance either through mental health or you know even within your local community of resources, like, hey, how do I help my, usually, right, we're talking about young teens. Typically sixth grade is when things start, sixth, seventh, eighth, puberty's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So you imagine all these like hormones going crazy, and then we're like, hey, now we have this AI platform that is driven to provide a intimate experience. You don't think that they're going to want to have that experience with hormones off the chart? Like the guardrails would be specific there. I don't see this being for people under 18, but even 18 to 26 is still a delicate age area of, do we really fully know um, if they're able to make the best decision on their own, you
Right.
know?
I don't, this, and the more we're talking about it, it makes me think about, crimes that it makes it easier for some crimes to be committed, because who's actually committing the crime? Is it a human or is it AI? And then, like I said, huh?
I'm thinking of somebody's like, I'm stealing each other's robotic chat bots, like, so and so breaking into so and so because they had a bot that they wanted. Like, I mean, the drive, right? Like the need for something like an addictive personality.
Mm-hmm. And like sex offenders, they're the smartest criminals anyway. I think they're smarter than white collar criminals.
Well, the
And so,
sexual drive is a very strong force.
and power, it's, and a lot of this is, it's just like when you're doing things online, you can be anonymous, somewhat
Yep.
anonymous. It's not like you have to be human when you're in person. You can hide behind a screen. And so this makes it even easier to hide things that are occurring.
And this is
So,
kind of a controversial discussion about, if somebody has a desire, a drive to, say, have rough, aggressive sex, or and bordering on, um is this, I mean, you would have to have a specific partner, right, that's okay with that type of interaction. But like,
mhm,
say that in this person's world, they don't know anybody, right, and that's interested in the type of intimacy that they want, this maybe rougher, um or maybe, in their mind, they're, I hate to say it, but like somebody that is into younger people, that,
mhm,
and so you think they have these thoughts, and it's like, do you want them to play this out in the human world? Is it wrong also in the digital world? They're not hurting humans,
correct. Yeah,
so it's kind of like, does that make it okay, or is that still wrong? So that's why I say it's uncharted, because we've not
right,
ever been here before.
right.
um is it opening the door to to criminal extra criminal activity, or is it keeping it contained? um these are questions that are beyond maybe what you and I could answer in this podcast, but I would say there's an argument that could be made on both sides, right?
I agree.
um
Agree. Okay.
I would
Well,
much
go
right?
ahead.
I would much rather a person not do, right, hurt another human. Like, if somebody, gun to my head, said, "Hey, you pick. They get to act it out here, or act it out over here." I mean, I would save the human, of course.
Yeah.
But, then there's another person saying, "Well, you've just allowed it to, now it's going to spill into human world." It's like,
Well, and that's why there should still be some human guardrails.
yeah,
Like, humans created all of this.
yeah,
It didn't just fall out of the sky.
yeah,
Okay. Humans have been working on this stuff for decades. And then now we're here, and we still have to pull the reins in on it, just like we did with the internet and everything else. Like, every time we have technology, we get ahead of ourselves, and then we have to like start making sure that the appropriate regulations or guardrails are there. So I'm all for AI. I'm just
as a
thinking
tool.
outside the
Yeah,
box,
yeah,
because, I'm a private citizen. I'm a mental health professional and a sexual health professional, and I used to work in the criminal justice system. So I'm
yeah.
looking at all of this, and it's like an explosion of stuff that could be beneficial, and an explosion of stuff that can be really detrimental. So, I mean, we're going to keep talking about it.
Yeah. And
It's
it's still
not
against the law, just FYI, right? So there's no questions there. We just don't know to what extent yet it's going to
Yeah.
create, a negative issue. So.
Well, maybe Congress should start listening to what we're saying in these podcasts. We're not the only ones like that are, saying, hey, what about this? What about this? There should be some of us talking to lawmakers. They're the ones that are going to be able to create the guardrails that we need. So anyway, a happier topic is penis size.
Let's talk about penis size.
Does it matter?
Hey, I guess it matters who you ask.
Okay.
And
so if you ask women or men, or is that what you mean? Who you ask?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I guess it matters who you ask, because they would probably give you. We've heard them both, right? We've heard it matters, and we've heard no, it doesn't matter, right? What's a famous saying? It's not the
It's not
size,
the size, it's what you do with it, or something like that.
the motion of the ocean, or something.
Yes.
But thanks to science and studies, we have information. Like, we know what the average penis size is. We know what the effects of too large of a penis can happen, right? There's only so much space for a penis to go into. And, I would say where it turns into an issue is how you view your penis as a male, right? If you view it sadly, like, oh, I have a little penis, right? Then you're going to have some negative, maybe shame, these negative emotions, shame or guilt, or
if somebody has said something about it before, or said something negative about the penis before, or I guess guys looking at porn thinking that that's what's normal when that's not. I mean, an average penis size erect is 5.5 inches or 6 inches at most. So there's that.
Oh, there's that. Enough about the penis. No, I'm just kidding. I guess the question would be, right, from a psychological perspective, like, have you ever seen the effects of somebody that is on the smaller end, and how it affects their confidence, their self-esteem, and how they interact in the world?
Yeah, guys have talked about that, and one of the first things I ask them is, oh, has somebody ever said anything like that to you? Anybody made any negative comments about your penis? Because that's a different topic. If somebody said something, or it's happened 2 or 3 times that somebody actually said something, that's a completely different topic than just, he thinks this about himself, or he's comparing himself to other people. And I've even asked guys, who have been involved in sports. I said, this, don't let this come across as being, I don't want you to feel embarrassed about this, but were you comparing to yourself to other guys in the locker room? And they do. They do.
They sure do. And it happens in locker rooms around the world.
Yeah. And it's not terrible. Like, we're trying to normalize this. It happens. Please don't think that we're saying, all right, this is what we want your homework to be, is go to a locker room and start looking at other guys' dicks. Like, that's not, we're not saying that. We're just saying that it's normal to compare yourself to other people. Women do it. Women look at other women's breasts and their butts and all of that. And, and they get envious too. Like, oh my God, she has really nice boobs, or look at her ass. And, like women do too. Okay. So guys, just calm down. It's normal what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a variation in size, in shape.
Yeah.
Everything would be considered normal unless you're having a dysfunction of what it's supposed to do, right?
Right.
But what it looks like, or the size of it, or there's just such variation, and right, the media that is consumed. um if we think about like porn, right, these are above average size penises, peni, right, penises, peni.
I don't know.
I think
That's a
it's
good
penis.
question. I think it's penises. Dicks.
Many
You say dick.
penis.
If you just say dick, then that's easy. You just put an S on the end of it.
There are, it's skewed, right?
Yes.
The what we see in what, I guess it's now prohibited content in some states.
Hmm.
But for those that still have access to it, we live in Texas, I believe it's still banned.
What, porn?
hmm yeah, unless you have like
A
you
VPN?
have, yeah, you have to like register. They want to know who's watching it. So unless you want to give all that up,
No, you just get a private
a
VPN.
private, okay,
Yeah, they can't stop people from doing anything. I mean,
yeah. Well, and there still exist, right, these love shops where
hmm
you can get yourself a old school DVD.
hmm
But anyhow, I digress from that, because it's about how you view your penis. That's what I would say, view it from a psychological perspective. Um,
is it doing what you need for it to do, what you want for it to do?
mhm,
It has a number of functions, and is it performing those functions? And then
mhm,
the emotional part, like, you can work on that stuff with
yeah,
professional, but we understand,
yeah,
and most women, this is a guys don't know this, but most women don't want for guys to have these huge dicks that you see in porn. Most
mhm,
women don't want that. So, because yeah, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, like if it's penetrative sex, vaginal, penile, penetrative sex, size can matter. If a guy is, you know, 6'5" and she's tiny, then of course that's probably not going to be very comfortable.
yeah, yeah. The if the person who owns the penis has a distorted perception of it,
Hmm.
um, you know, it's it's right, but beyond shame, but like maybe even a social anxiety,
Yeah.
not wanting to date,
Hmm.
um, you know, maybe obsessively like looking at it and like talking negatively to it, like, these would be considered maladaptive ways of handling body issues. It would fall under like a body dysmorphia. Um,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think it might now be a penile dysmorphic disorder, like when you specifically are focused on that. So you don't want the PDD. You don't want to be diagnosed with it, because that just means you're shaming yourself.
Yeah.
And we need to be happy about ourselves. I mean, just think about it, right? Like if we constantly shamed each other, you're going to feel bad. This is the core of CBT: thoughts,
Hmm.
emotions, behaviors. You're getting your little therapy session here.
What about when guys feel some type of way about penis size, and so they um, use devices or medications to change that? Well, the medications are usually for, sexual performance at the time, like to
Yeah.
have an erection to perform sexually, not necessarily to make the penis bigger otherwise.
Right.
And the devices, I guess they're just used sexually. What do you think about that? Like not being happy about your size, and so you use something artificial to enhance the size.
Well, one, it's temporary. It's not a permanent, increasing blood flow because it's, vacuum sealing it. It makes me think of like
Vacuum sealing a dick.
remember when
Oh, I don't
people,
want to visualize that.
you're increasing the blood flow to
Mhm.
to bring blood flow to make it larger, and it,
Yeah.
not necessary, and possibly, well, one, for sure temporary, but two, um, you know, may possibly, hurting you in some way. Um, so I would say the satisfaction rate of trying to increase penis size with some sort of device is not high. So, you know, it might in your mind sound like, hey, this is something that's going to work, but the results of people that have tried it before you are, and they've taken these polls, and these people are, typically not happy about what is achieved. So I would say it's not there yet. um
And what is the purpose? Like, is the purpose of using an enhancement because your partner wants you to be bigger?
mhm,
Is it because your partner, or because you want to have the blood flow in the penis? I can understand that. Like, if there is an erectile functioning issue associated with blood flow and you need something temporary for the blood flow, or something mechanical for blood flow, I could see that, okay, because
mhm.
it's about functionality. It's not about what other people think of the size of your penis. Does that make sense? Like, it's different things.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always dissecting stuff. I'm always picking it apart and just, dicing it up.
Well, you bring up a good point, right? Like, who to whose pleasure are you trying to achieve
Yes.
what it is that you're looking for? Is it for you? Is it for your partner? Is it
Is
for
it for
both?
aesthetics?
Yeah.
Like, do you want it to look big? Who is that for? Do you want it to function?
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, this can absolutely be another conversation that we have too. Like, we're bringing up all this stuff and thinking on the cuff. And so
Yeah.
then it creates other episodes.
Yeah. But, and just to say put out there, this is still, any type of body shaming is whether you're a teenager, whether you're a parent, you shouldn't do that. Like,
Right. Right.
get it together, and don't promote that type of conversation, especially as a parent, because um, it continues on. It ripples out into the world and across generations, and it's just harmful. So
I agree. 1000%. And all right. So to round everything all out, um, of course, we talked about this in another episode that uh, May is both Mental Health Awareness and Masturbation Month, and we're getting ready to end the month. And so we're just checking in with everybody to see if you're following through with that. Um, learning something about yourself, things that you like, that you dislike, the way you like to be touched. You're setting some boundaries for yourself. And it doesn't matter whether you're taking care of your mental health or your sexual health, the masturbation. It's still about you. This is the one month where you can make things really about yourself, your autonomy and your freedom and your fantasies and all of
Pleasure
that.
and your
Pleasure,
pleasure.
your own pleasure. And this is the month where you don't have to just use journaling for mental health. Like you can use masturbation as mental health and not feel guilty about it.
Mhm.
So I hope everybody's been doing that. Like we have 31 days during the month of May, so you have all next week and then the holiday weekend.
That's
So
right.
yeah.
I, for one, am exhausted in a good way. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's important to bring it up and remind people it is okay
Mm-hmm.
to self-care with masturbation, with mental health, and communicate, please. Communicate to your partner if you have a partner that you are interacting with. You're learning all these great things about your body, and then
Yes.
you go in there and you're like
Yep.
that is not going to help you. I'm not saying you have to go in there and you know be an erotic novel author.
Mm-hmm.
However, you should communicate what you want or don't want, because you're learning that and it's important. And encourage
Absolutely.
them to tell you. It's, sometimes people just need the permission,
Yes.
you know, they're like, should I say it? What if they don't want to hear it? People have their own little tapes going on in their head of their own
Mm-hmm.
insecurities. And you do as well, right? We all do. But communicate for, please. Like if you're going to take your clothes off, you should open your mouth.
That's true. Very, very true. And if you know what pleases you, how on earth is somebody else going to know what pleases you if you're not telling them? They're not supposed to read your mind. So, anyway, the homework is to finish out the month.
Mm-hmm.
However, you need to do that to take care of yourself, whether it's, masturbation or whether it's journaling or whatever the case may be. We are giving you permission to go forth and finish taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Go for it.
Yep, go
Have a
for
good
it.
time.